If a database has thousands of records, returning this huge result will cause a performance problem. But we can use Spring Data JPA to implement pagination to avoid this. First, we will use Spring Initializer to create a new Spring Boot project. We choose Maven. Language we choose Java. Spring Boot version we choose 3.1.1. Project metadata is up to you, but we will give it a name, Pagination. Packaging we choose Java version we choose version 20, but it's up to you what version Java installed on your computer. And dependency we will use Spring Boot Dev 2. It will live reload the server when we make changes to our codes. And Lambak, it will help us to reduce boilerplate code. And Spring Web, it is used to build a Spring Web application. And Spring Data JPA and mysql driver. It is used to create a connection between web application and database. And then we click generator. It will download a pagination file. We open the download file. It will generate a folder. You can use your favorite text editor or IDE to open this folder. I will use Visual Studio Code to open this folder. Next, we will create a database in mysql. We will type mysql -u print the user. We will use default user root and -p present password, and we will enter password. Click enter. We will just enter the mysql. We will type create database pagination. It will create a database named Pagination. Next, we will add some properties in resource application properties file, and we will copy this. And data source URL JDBC means Java database connectivity, and we will connect to MySQL database, and localhost and 3306 is the default port of MySQL, and pagination is a database name, and username and password. You should use your own username and password, and driver class name is this, and DDL auto we will set update. When we change model entity, it will automatically add a new column in database table, but it will not remove all the column, and delete will set MySQL delete. Next, we will open a new terminal in Visual Studio Code, and we will type /mynw spring -boot run, and press enter. This will start the Spring Boot server, and if everything set is red, you will see this displayed on your terminal. So we started the Spring Boot server and successfully connected to the MySQL database. Next, we will create a model entity, and we will create a folder called model. And in this model folder, we will create a person.java file. And in this file, we will give this class a notation called entity. This will define this class mapped to the database table, so it will create a table automatically in the database. And the next annotation is a table, and it defines details about this table. So we will give this table a name called person. And then next we will give it a getter and a setter annotation from Lombok. This will automatically generate a getter and setter method for this class. So this class entity will have two fields. One is ID, and I will let ID automatically generate when we insert the data. So we will give it an annotation called generate value, and strategy we will use generation type. This generation type we will import by ourselves. So generation type, and type we will use identity, and this ID field we will make it a variable private, and type is integer, and the variable name is ID. And next field we will give it a annotation column. Column name will be name, and this variable also private. Type is string, and the variable name is name. So we successfully created the person entity, and this will automatically create a table named person and have two fields, ID and name. After we create a person model, next we will create a person repository to manage this person model data. So we will create a folder called repository. And in this repository folder, and we will create a file called person repository .java, and we will change this class to interface, and this interface will extend the JPA repository, and this JPA repository takes two parameters, and the first one is the type of model we need managed. So we will use person and press enter. This will automatically import that person. And next is the type of ID in that person model. So that will be an integer. And JPA repository include all methods and pagination and sorting. Next, we will create a controller to handle requests. We will create a folder called controller. In this controller folder, we will create a person controller file, and we will give this person controller class a notation called a REST controller. And another annotation will be request mapping, and this request mapping will map a HTTP request when the URL match the string in this request mapping annotation. it will execute the method in this class. And in this class, we will auto where the person repository. This auto where will create an instance of person repository, so we can use this person repository. And next, we will have a method. This method will have a get mapping annotation. This get mapping annotation is same as request mapping, but only accept the get method. So it will take one string parameter. When the request URL match request mapping, and this get mapping string will execute this method. So this method will be public and return a list of person. And this method will call name person list and take one parameter. We'll have a annotation called request parameter. It's called a request param, and it will have a name called a page. Okay, and we can define default value is 0, and its type will be integer, and this variable name will be page. Next, we will define the size. It present how many items of one page. It will have its type will be integer, and name variable name will be size, and we will give it size 2. And next, we will use page request of and pass the page and size. In this, it will return a pageable object. Next, we will use person repository find out method and pass the pageable object into this, and it will return a page person object. And this page person object we can use this get content method. It will return a list of person. And the last, we will return this persons. And we finish this get controller. Next, we will insert some dummy data into the database. So we open a new terminal and type mysql -u root -p and enter the password and enter the mysql database, and we will use the database we created called Pagination, and we copy this code, and this will insert the dummy data into the person table in the database Pagination. Next, we will use postman to test our application. And this method we will choose get, and this localhost 880 is a basic URL, and this person match request mapping string, and this list match get mapping string. So this page is a request param, and its number is a page number. So if we use 0, we will get the first page, and it's the first 2 item. So let me send, and we will get the first 2 item. And if we change that to 2, we will get the third page, and is the 5th and 6th item. So we get the right items, so everything seems fine. And we know how to connect our application to the MySQL database, and how to use pagination. So see you.